students on a talent and said hard to follow up what they just accomplished without saying anything that doesn't really sound right, other than to say how proud I am of all of this. It's taken a long time to get here, but this was the starting line, not the finish line. And we went out there tonight on the number one network on cable television, USA, amazing partners for us for years, and put on what I feel was an epic hour of programming on USA. Number one trend, US. Number one in the world the entire time. Number 4 in the world the entire time. Tough to say much more than that, other than I thought it was a hell of a night, and I thought it was an epic performance on everybody's part. I'm proud of this team from behind the scenes to in front of it. I want to thank our partners here at Full Sail University, because without them, this doesn't happen. You know, they're the best partners we have, and this everything that they have here is top shelf, and couldn't be better partners for us. So, great night. The beautiful part is we get to do it again next Wednesday and the Wednesday after that, and going forward. So I'm excited, and I'll open it up to questions from all of you.
All right, guys, we're going to start in the room. So, guys, who wants to go first? Scott Fishman, TV Insider. So, talk about what goes into, you can only make one first impression. So many tonight are getting their first opportunity to see the NXT brand. What went into the thought process of deciding what matches you're going to do, what you were going to feature on tonight's show?
There's a lot of thought process. You mill through it a million different options and ways and opportunities. What's the first thing you want them to see? What's the most exciting thing they can see coming out the chute? How do you balance a show, an hour show of action as much as possible, but yet still knowing this is the first shot at this bigger audience? How do you get them to give you the character development and that sort of storyline movement, but yet bigger than that is the characters and the personalities of these performers? That's really what you need to get across in these first episodes, but by also making this as action-packed as possible. So it's a ton of going back and forth and what do we want to get to, and then once you make a commitment to it, now you know what's within the show, and now you have to figure out how to format it all. The biggest thing I was concerned with tonight for me was the pacing of it, given that I know bell to bell we do what we do, and I feel like we do that as well or better than anybody on the planet, but how do you pace that out now differently with commercials and those commercial timings? Those are things that we don't have control over in a lot of ways. The length of times of commercials and how many commercials you need to have in a show. So working all that together, I felt like we did a really good job with the pacing and making things feel right, and it didn't feel like it lagged at any points or got bogged down. So I was really happy with that. That will be the consistent ebb and flow for me. I'm confident in the talent will do what the talent do here, and I'm confident in the team here from a tech standpoint of how we do it. So for me, it's more the forethought of the pacing and how you run this than it is anything else. Thank you.
Okay. Does this feel like the next couple of weeks more like a trial run, because you've sort of got a 1-hour show followed by a 1-hour show as opposed to a full flowing 2 hours? Does that give you a couple of different opportunities in terms of formatting?
It does. There's a little bit more freedom with our network to not have to do some of the commercial things and everything else and hit all of those exactly right. But we still have to, there's no leeway at the 9 o'clock hour. We had to hit that out, and that is the tricky part. Look, that's the tricky part for Raw. It's the tricky part for SmackDown. It's the tricky part for anybody that's doing live television in that manner, where at a particular time you are off the air, whether you're ready for it or not ready for it. You can't go off earlier. You're going off when you're going off. So that's the tricky part. The beautiful thing about this team here is a lot of experience. A lot of people know they're doing, people with years of it, and and we can roll with these punches and get them done. It's not our first gig. It's not our first day on the job. So we have a lot of experience with it. Doesn't mean mistakes won't happen, but we have them handled. And tonight, as things went through, we were able to go where we needed to go, and I thought we had an epic first shot. It is a little nice, though. I think that the first couple of weeks are also, I'm happy that if you're watching USA and you're new to the product, like the fans that have been with us since the beginning, they know. The ones that don't, this is new to them. So giving them that first taste, and giving that first taste in a little dose, and letting them have it for a couple of weeks. I sound like I'm making Breaking Bad or something, but you give them that little taste of it, and then leave them wanting more, and we'll give that to them over these coming weeks now as they get into these characters more. When we hit that first 2 week, that first 2 hour stride on 10-2, we're gonna knock this thing out of the park, and we're gonna make sure that people are engaged, because by the first 2 weeks are done, they're wanting more of it, and that's the goal of this. It's kind of a blessing in disguise a little bit for me. I like it. Jimmy, you want me to go? Sure.
Okay. The format, I had 2 matches before the live show, and then also Sean Luda was used on the live show. So is that something going forward? You're going to do 2 matches before it goes to TV, and sometimes maybe use other type wrestlers and be superstars, anything like that?
Yeah, although it's I don't necessarily think what NXT is going to change, and Sean Maluda's been a fairly regular performer for us here. He works with Evolve, and I like Sean a lot, and we used him in the Cruiserweight Classic, and he's grown so much as a performer, and I'm happy that he gets the opportunity to come here, and even in the moments that he had tonight, just having that opportunity, that's a rep, and that's an opportunity to put himself in front of the world. These to me are important things, and I think you're going to see a lot of that. There's a massive amount of opportunity here for people within our system, for people that are trying to get in within that system, for the talent that are working with groups that work with us like Evolve and things like that, to be able to connect them into what we do. I want to keep this fresh. I want to keep it moving. You saw Imperium here tonight from the UK. You saw cruiserweight matches with Lio Rush coming back, and a slightly different take with the cruiserweight. So I think all those things are ways to keep this constantly fresh and evolving, constantly moving forward, and giving fans something different in a lot of ways at all times. As far as the dark matches earlier in the night, I think having a few matches prior to us get going allows us to settle into a groove that allows us to make sure everything is working right, and those will also be great content for whatever we decide to use them for, whether that's a part of a show, part of a network show, part of something in a tape format. We're figuring that part out. Right now I'm concerned about 2 hours of live every single week, but that is definitely something that will be a part of this going forward.
Okay, we'll go to the phones. 1 question per outlet, please.
Thank you. We'll hear from Mike Johnson with PWInsider.com. Please go ahead.
Hey, Paul, how you doing?
I'm great.
I'm
How are
guessing
you?
you're pretty happy. I'm good. I'm guessing you're pretty happy right now.
I'm very happy. It's very rare for me at NXT when we do something big or live that I don't walk away happy from it. Is this a work in progress? Are there things that I want to do better? Absolutely. I want to be my own worst critic, and I want to analyze this, and I want to make it better every single time. But I'm really happy.
Okay. So my question is, the show is formatted to pretty much be all action. No promos really on the show other than the videos. Very little on the vignettes. Talk a little bit about the decision to put action first and let the personality stand out in the ring foremost, as opposed to giving someone like Cameron Grimes a chance to do a promo to establish who he is. Talk a little bit about the decision to not have promos and a lot of mic work on the show tonight.
So I think we'll approach things differently at all times, but I do think we did spend if you go back and you broke this apart into that first USA hour and you broke that apart, there's a lot of character development that actually happened within those segments. It has to be quick and it's got to be hits. You don't have a whole segment to have somebody go out there and cut a promo and build a character in that manner. For me, Cameron Grimes, I could have had him go out there and talk. I think I built more intrigue in him tonight with what we did, and now I am interested to hear more about him. I think, though, when we get into the 2 hours, there's going to be those opportunities to build storylines. You have to do that stuff. You have to give me information, not just in the ring and not just physical, but how do you get to those matches? How do you build those characters and those character arcs and those storyline arcs to get to where the matches themselves mean the most they can mean? You have to do that stuff, but the way that you do it, you constantly just have to me, my opinion is you constantly have to be giving me fresh, new something. Information, something. I got to learn something new. I feel like that people's short attention span theater is if it's the same thing they've seen. If you're giving me a new piece of information, if you're giving it to me in a different way, if it's a new look, if it's something more, I'm intrigued by that and I want to stay and watch it. So those are things we'll work on as we move forward. Tonight was clearly a particular type of show for a particular reason. Going forward, there'll all be particular types of shows for particular reasons. They'll just be different.
All right. Well, thanks for the time.
Thank you.
We'll hear next from Jason Powell with ProWrestling.net. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hey, Paul. How different would the second hour have looked and been booked had it actually aired on USA Network? And if you had competition running against you, did you kind of take a little bit of a lighter approach with some of that by featuring some of the more, I guess everyone's developmental to a point, but it did seem like you had some talent on there that maybe wouldn't make the cut other weeks, or am I mistaken?
No, look, to your point of the developmental, I believe in this business you're developmental till the day you stop getting in the ring. You learn every single time you're in there. The day that you stop learning about what's next in this business and what's coming up and what's new and stop growing, you should stop because you're done. So everyone is developmental. As far as the people in the show, look, how would it have been different? Well, one, it would have had commercial breaks. Two, we would have had to go right to the exact moment of going off the air. We went off the air earlier as our network, and we could tweak some things around and change some things. Would that hour have been different? Yes. Would it have been massively different? No. Here's the thing. You have 2 hours. Not everything in there can be, pouring gas on a fire. Right. You have to have moments and times. It's a funny thing in the world when people watch a Game of Thrones or something like that. There have to be some episodes or at least some moments within those shows where they're building to something bigger. If everything is just a massive explosion, then it's all the same. It doesn't mean anything. So you have to have that ebb and flow, and you have to have that stuff. I want to debut new characters. I want to get new performers out there. I want to give opportunity to people, one, that are returning or that they haven't seen in a while, or two, that they've never seen, and give it to them in that manner. But to do that, you have to do things differently, shake things up, and you have to have those moments where you're going to rely on fans to go like, hey, this is somebody new, but you know what? I want to give them a shot, right? I'm not gonna leave because I've never seen this person before. I'm going to leave because I'm going to not leave because I'm interested in finding out more about them, because we've done a good enough job before you see them the first time of building some hype around it that you're interested in it. And that's really what I want to do, is just keep people interested.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll hear next from Connor Casey with comicbook.com. Please go ahead.
Hey, Connor. Thanks so much for doing this. Appreciate it. I think a lot of fans were really surprised to see Lio Rush back in the fold tonight. Was his return something that was planned out ahead of time, or was this a fairly recent development?
No, it's something we've been talking about for a while, but look, this whole thing of NXT on USA, while we've been talking about doing it for a year and a half, 2 years, then when it finally happens, it's a recent development. because until it actually happens, it hasn't happened. So until we knew what was going on, there was a bit of a lag there, and I'm just really excited. Lio Rush is he's just a phenomenal, energetic, and money performer to me, and I'm thrilled that we can put him in the show and have him showcase what he does. He was spectacular tonight. He and Oni both tore up, and that's what this is about.
And we'll hear next from Nick Hausman with Wrestling Incorporated. Please go ahead.
Hi, Paul. Thank you so much for the time. So Ciampa released this video earlier today, very cool video, where it looked like he was ready to get back into action. What's the latest with Ciampa? Has he been cleared to return?
He is getting very close. When you come down to the end, unfortunately, I've been through a lot of these. When you come down to the end, there's this point in time where you are just chomping at the bit. You're ready to go. You feel like you can move the world. And yet the doctors are still like, just give it a bit more, like just take it slow. That last couple of percent to getting to 100% is the most frustrating part for an athlete, because you feel like you're ready to take on the world and you just can't quite yet. And he's ready. He's as close as he can get. But when they give him the green light, he is the racehorse right now, stomping and pushing against that gate. And when that doctor tells him go, he's going to come flying out of there.
Cool. Hey, Paul, thanks so much. Congratulations on a great show tonight.
Thank you very much.
And we'll hear next from Kelly Wells with PWTorch.com. Please go ahead.
Hi, Kelly.
Paul, thanks for a show. How are you doing? Thanks for a show full of surprise tonight.
Thank you very much.
Using the Raw and the Manhattan Center an example, other live shows have originally emanated from the same arena week after week. But is NXT unique in that the decision to stay at Full Sail for the foreseeable future allows talents to remain grounded at the Performance Center? And what role did the crowd play, given that we know that this crowd will react positively not only to the existing talent, but the addition of the cruiserweights?
So I think that the decision to stay here was there was many thoughts and different components that went into it, business-wise, our partnership here. But for me, also too, when we say we are NXT, that's a part of it. This crowd that's here, a lot of them have been coming to this since day one, and they come to the shows and they support the shows, around Florida, and they're a part of this. And we have people travel in from all over the place, kind of, and come to Florida on their vacations or whatever. And part of what they do while they're here, they're looking for an NXT event to go to, and that's a really cool thing. And they've been such an integral part of that. When I say we are NXT, I mean them. We, all of us, the talent, the crew, the everybody, they're a part of this team that made this thing work, and they are as well. So there's a part of it for me, like emotionally, that I go, I don't want to do this anywhere else. I want to do it right here, and I want these people that are here, every single show that we've done, I want them to be able to stand up on the USA Network, the number one network on cable television, and to be able to stand up and let their voices be heard and show who they are and how proud they are of it. They got it to where it is. As much as we did, the talent did, the crew did, everybody else did, but they were there for it. And this is the thank you, right? This is the moment in time they get to come on the ride with us, and they get to experience this as well, and be a part of this live. So, when this building here at Full Sail University, the Full Sail Live, which might as well be called the NXT Arena, when they're live and something is good, there is no more energetic environment than here. It's a crazy vibe here, and I love it, and to me, this is the thank you. Thank you for helping us get to where we are, and thank you for coming along on the ride and continue to come along with us because we're just getting started,
Yes, absolutely. Thanks for a great show.
Thank you.
All right, guys. 2 more questions, and then we'll call it a night.
And we'll hear next from Ryan Satin from Pro Wrestling Sheet. Please go ahead.
Hey, Ryan.
Hey, Paul. Killer show tonight.
Thank you.
So, for the people who are watching at home, and I don't even know if you know this yet because you were obviously very busy tonight, but there were massive issues with the WWE Network tonight where people were trying to log in and they couldn't. There was all these password issues. Do you have any ideas? Has there been any word brought back to you yet on what might have caused that?
So I heard about it. I don't believe, from my understanding, just from what I've heard so far, I don't believe it was a massive, widespread thing. Like bad news travels fast, but I don't believe it was as big as it was kind of put out there to be. I think there was a select grouping of people that couldn't log in or something. To my understanding, the great thing is with the WWE Network, once the issue was addressed and fixed, they could log right in, and you can go back and watch it right now on demand, and you can watch it whenever you want. So it's sitting right there. With the platform comes little glitches and issues. I know they're in the process of figuring it all out, and hopefully it's something that'll never happen again. And for our fan base that was there watching it, they can go back and watch it right now.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys, last question.
And we'll take our last question from Sean Ross Sapp with Fightful. Please go ahead.
Hey, Sean.
Hey, Paul. Thanks for taking the time. Of course, one of the big discussions is how much would Vince McMahon, if at all, have any hand in this show? Did you get any input from him before, during, or immediately after this show? Maybe any tips, anything of that nature?
I received a bunch of texts from him throughout the day. Excited to see it, and wishing us luck, especially as they got close. He was sending me little texts counting me down. 20 minutes, which I thought was great because it was just fun. But and then he sent me a few texts during the show. He watched the entire thing. I'm sure he's at the office, probably in a meeting while he was doing it. But he enjoyed it. He loved it, and thought Tal did a hell of a job. Thought they knocked it out of the park. He was excited. He sent me a massive congratulations after it was over and was thrilled with the product. It's a funny thing because people don't give him the credit. He embraces the difference. The products should be different, and he embraces that difference and is all into that difference and can see the difference. And it's like liking different types of music. And one thing might be somebody's cup of tea, something else might be the other, but you can appreciate all of it. And I think that's the best way of saying it. He absolutely appreciates it, and thought it was great. So he sent me a congrats to us, to the crew, and to all the talent.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you. I'm sorry. Was you saying one more? That was less okay. I thought we had a spectacular night, and I appreciate everybody's support on this and wanting to be involved, and I appreciate all the conversation around it. Obviously, if you're doing this every week, I don't know that doing every single thing every week is the best way to do it, but I want to keep these doors open. I want to keep these conversations going, and let you guys help be a part of this and make it the best show that we can make it. My goal is, as good as everybody feels it was tonight, there are some things I want to do better, and we're going to make this the best show on television. That's the goal. So, I was thrilled. My hat's off to everybody, and I thank you all for the support tonight. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.